Hello summoners, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we will be discussing my personal tier list for this game. This is the first time I'm doing this on a spreadsheet, so I might have missed some characters entirely and some of them might be misplaced. We will probably do a lot of changes before the next tier list video, and maybe I'll do it every single month, or maybe it will be a quarterly thing. Do let me know what you want to see. And it has all the characters up till Immortal Hulk, and minus the trophy characters, because not a lot of people have them, and besides Weapon X they are not particularly good, and Weapon X is just really rare, so I just left them all entirely off this list. And let's start with me explaining the categories. I do strongly believe that Quake and Ghost are the best characters in the game and one tier above everyone else, so that is why they're chilling alone in the legendary tier here. Then we have some Game of Thrones reference, 3 of them: Kingsguard, Knights and Squires. So for comparison's sake, if we're talking about Seaton's tier list, which is definitely the most popular one in this game, then Kingsguard is basically beyond God tier, the Knights is God tier, and Squires is he has broken down God tier into 2 categories now, so low God tier I guess, or high demigod tier, whatever, you get the idea. So yeah, that is how this list works. And also for the last 2 categories, below average and buff please, I think both of these characters in both of these categories do need a buff. Below average one will be fine with a tune up, and buff please one need a major overhaul in my opinion. And even the average ones are someone who could use a tweak in the numbers. They just have some kind of utility which make them average, but yeah, they are nothing special. So let's start off with the list. Legendary category, pretty self-explanatory. Also, I am not considering any synergies here for all of these characters, just to keep it simple. Maybe for future tier lists we will add more categories and a little more complex, but for now it's pretty simple. We are considering these characters as awakened and without any particular mastery setup, although I should say Ghost benefits a lot from Suicide Masteries, and she also benefits a decent amount with her synergy, especially the Hood synergy, and for newer players the Wasp synergy is also really helpful, but not required if you master her, which is what we are assuming here, because the same goes for Quake. She is a really hard character to play, and if you have mastered her, then she is the best character in the game, no questions. So moving down to Kingsguard, we have Corvus Glaive, who in my opinion is the best cosmic character in the game if you have him as a 6-star. As a rank 3 6-star, he's just amazing. He is the best character for Alliance Quest, and he's really good for Alliance War. Even with Flow, when you were punished for having critical attacks, even then he is great. And his awakened ability is one of the strongest awakened abilities in the game, but still not really required. And he's still the best character for Legends run as well, and a lot of parts in Act 6, especially again if we are talking about 6-star rank 3. But even a 565 one is just such an amazing character for all kind of stuff, even incursions, and even in stuff like Abyss where you'd think he'd be pretty bad if you don't have Aegon. And Corvus Glaive is you should have Corvus in your team for that final collector. Then we have Captain Marvel movie, who is a really powerful character, especially with Fury synergy, but even without that she is really good. And Indestructible has a lot of utility. She can take stuff like Biohazard in Alliance War. She is naturally poison immune. She has a lot of damage potential. SP2s can do a crazy amount of damage and stuff. So yeah, really happy to have pulled her a few weeks ago, and she is currently at rank 4. Pretty good. Soon she'll be going to rank 5. Now we have Cosmic Ghost Rider, which is still a very new character, but if you learn how to play him, he is capable of some ridiculous damage. and yeah, he can just do a lot of stuff in this game. We have seen a lot of Cosmic Ghost Rider gameplay last month. Unfortunately, I was not in the content creator program by then, so I didn't get my hands on him, but he does look like a pretty sick character. And then we have the OG god Hyperion, who still with his power gain, poison immunity, and ridiculous amount of damage with his furies is a very useful character. He can also regenerate a little bit, I guess. And then we move on to Captain America Infinity War in the science category. So if you have this guy at SIG 200, he can deal with a lot of stuff. He has a lot of utility. He has really solid block proficiency, which is very important in stuff like Act 6. Does give him some sustainability without having regeneration. And he has really strong SP2s as well. And then we have Human Torch. He just melts so many characters, and especially in Alliance War, he has a lot of use. He is an Abyss Horseman, of course, so he is a very desirable character at the moment. Very common rank 3 6-star option as well. And then we have Void, who is still at the moment, I think he is the most used character for tier 1 thing bosses, and he doesn't have big yellow numbers, but there's just no doubt that he is still one of the most powerful characters in the game. He doesn't even need max sig, contrary to what a lot of people say. As long as he's awakened, he will get like the fear of the void thing. Having him at high sig is of course really nice, but like it's not like Captain America Infinity War who needs the high sig more, in my opinion. Like both of them benefit from a torch. In that opinion, he's kind of unique. He doesn't even need to be awakened. Like I've had my torch awakened for 6-7 months, and his awakened ability has been useful to me, I don't know, 1 or 2 times maybe. Then we have Thing, who is actually questionable if we are talking about without synergies, but even then he does bring a lot to the table. He is a really good defender, first of all, although in this list we are not considering defense, but he has a lot of immunities. He's immune to bleed, he's immune to shock, and he's also immune to nullify, which is kind of unique. And with the synergies, of course, he has some ridiculous damage, but even without it, his awaken ability is really powerful. The protection on offense as well as his uses. SP2 has stagger, and if you build his rock stacks use SP2, he does have some decent damage even without his synergies. Plus, not to mention, he has really high prestige as well. Then we move on to She-Hulk, who is a very skilled based character, but if you can play her well, if you know the spacing in this game, then she is without a doubt a very powerful character. She has slow, she has some insane damage, she has taunt for the furies as well, petrify on the SP2. She can get a lot of stuff done, and yeah, very powerful character. Then we move on to the skill class. We just have 2 characters here, Nick Fury and Aegon. So Nick Fury is the best skill character in my opinion. Insane bleed damage, a lot of utility if you have him awakened. Both these characters need to be awakened, and Aegon needs to be at a relatively high signature level. And if you're talking about 4-star, then honestly Aegon is not that great. If you're talking about 4-star, then I might demote Aegon and promote someone like, I don't know, Stealth Suit Spider-Man. But do let me know if you disagree with some of these placements, and we can like discuss, and if I agree, I'll make the changes in the next list. So, but Nick Fury, Aegon both have a lot of use in this game. Nick Fury with his awakened ability, or the Fury permanent Fury synergy with the Heimdall Angela, I guess. Like he can counter evade, miss. He can also counter. He can be completely unblockable. Shrug of debuffs when you knock the opponent down. So yeah, he has a lot of use, a lot of damage, which is why he's there. Great defender too. And then we move on to Aegon, best character for Abyss and Labyrinth, hands down. And he has his uses in incursions and Act 6, Deep Act 6 mostly. Then also like Omega Boss Rush kind of events, he is useful for those situations as well. Then Archangel, as long as he can bleed and poison, with the one exception of Cable. He's usually the best option for every single fight. Has defensive ability reduction as well, crazy DPS, and he's very useful in lance war. Like we have I'd say most tier 1 lances have at least 1 or 2 archangels running. He's great for a lot of fights, and in the current situation of the game, there is just no situation where when you are going in blind. Even stuff where the camera is locked, where you can't see the opponent because of this amazing community, you have maps, so you can always take other characters for immune matchups, and yeah, I do believe he is deserving of this category. And then we have Colossus after his buff, really solid character, a lot of utility, considered as the best mutant by a lot of people. Bleed immune, incinerate immune, a lot of damage, great with synergies but doesn't need them. And then we have Magneto again after his buff, considered as the best mutant by a lot of people, really powerful against metal characters, not bad against non-metal characters, great with suicide masteries. Most of his damage comes from SP3, and even against bleed immune characters he's really solid. A lot of use in Lance War and Act 6, so yeah. And then we have Omega Red with suicide masteries. He's just amazing, and I'd say he's one of the most useful characters for Act 6 in general. I don't have him still, but he's one of the characters that I want the most. Then we have Namor, who barely made the cut for me, just because if you have him at SIG 200, he is a very unique character, and he is capable of some really good damage, and being SIG 200, he does have a lot of utility, which is why he's there. And then in the tech class we have Guillotine 2099 and Warlock, both solid characters, both double immune robots. Offensively, defensively, they're really good. And Guillotine 2099, don't have her, but she's a great Havoc counter. I think she's great for longer stuff like Labyrinth, not that great for Abyss because you need to end the fight with your SP3, I believe. She doesn't crit, so she's good for flow and stuff like that. Solid damage, power control, regeneration, just like ticks a lot of boxes, so that is the reason she's there. Then we have Warlock, similar character, but like not that similar, I guess. Great Havoc counter, pretty decent damage after SP2 armor breaks, power control on SP1, SP3, some regeneration on SP3, can control power by his infections, can heal block because of his infections. So yeah, he is a pretty great character. Then we move on, let me scroll down. So we move on to the Mystic class, which has a lot of characters in this particular category. So Doctor Doom, really close to legendary category, very powerful power control character in this game, solid damage with his SP3s, another Abyss Horseman, and he has shock immunity, which is still not that like not a lot of characters have shock immunity, so that is nice. You have passive stunts, which is useful, really powerful nullify mechanic, strong incinerates as well, and once you just start the Doom rotation, you just lock the opponent completely. Then we have Clairvoyant, and if you're talking about, if you are a person who runs Suicide Mastery, then I believe Clairvoyant is the best Mystic character in this entire game. If you're not running Suicides, then that goes to Doctor Doom in my opinion. But Claire, she is a great character for incursions. She's a great character for Act 6, for Alliance Quest, for Alliance War. She is very useful for the Stunning Reflection mini, or she even, yeah, I saw one video of her soloing like a tier 1 thing boss with Stubborn, and she was my most used character. So I have all these characters in this list, like in this category, Mystics, except Sorcerer and Longshot, and I use them all in variant 5 and probably use Claire the most. So that should tell you, she's just a very powerful character with power control, regeneration, incinerate, triple immunity, nullify, cheat death mechanic as well. There's just a lot she can do. Then we move on to Sorcerer Supreme. Don't have her, but she looks so cool. She is a great character. Regeneration on block is amazing. Slow characters are always useful, and on top of that, like, she's just a very solid lance war character, I feel. Again, I don't have her, but with her runes and all her mechanics, she is capable of doing some really good damage from her SP2 and SP3, I believe. Her SP1 is mostly for the nullification aura, but she is a nullifying machine once you get that on. So yeah, very powerful mystic character. Then we have Magic, best power control character in the game in my opinion. Then we have Symbiote Supreme. If the opponent has buffs and isn't bleed immune, then Symbiote Supreme is just on another level. But he's a character who is not going to be great for every single matchup, but for those unique matchups he's going to be really powerful. Then we have Longshot. Again, I don't have him, but he looks really cool. He is a very powerful character for sure. And I think I can't cover every single of these categories because otherwise it will be like a 3-hour video, and because we do have a lot of characters in the game. But quickly going through all of them, hopefully tonight. So we have Medusa, Arcus, Venom, Carnage, Vandrak, Red Hulk, Guardian, and Spider-Gwen. Then a friend skill class: Blade, Hitmonkey, Sursu, Spidey, Elsa, and Falcon. Then Mutant, we have Domino, Apocalypse. Mutants, some of these should probably get promoted, I guess. Domino, Apocalypse, Wolverine, Sunspot, Professor X, and Gambit. All of these are probably better than characters of the other class in this category, but compared to the mutants in the above category, they are not as good in my opinion, at least. Professor X and Apocalypse are still pretty new, so can't say for sure about them. And then we have Guardian, Sentinel, Stark, Spidey, Hulkbuster. Let me scroll down. Mysterio, Morningstar, Dragonman, and Tigra. Tigra is a character who is slowly gaining a lot of tiers in like tier lists, and with enough skill I can see her making it to Kingsguard level as well. Then we have Squires, Calypsidian, Red Goblin, Silver Surfer, Gamora, Angela, Hela, Thor, Annihilus, Proxima, Wasp, Invisible Woman, Luke Cage, Mr. Fantastic, Immortal Hulk, which is the newest character, Square Girl, Killmonger, Black Widow, Deadly Origin, Gwenpool, White Magneto, Havoc. Even like here, mutants are probably the strongest. Then Emma Frost, Storm, Pyramid X, Punisher 2099 after his buff, Scarlet Witch, Mojo, Sasquatch, and Dr. Voodoo. These this category still really solid characters. They can get a lot of stuff done, and there's just other better characters, but these are all still worth the resources in my opinion. And then we have above average. These are the ones like, if some of them like Iceman, X-23, Old Man Logan, they're useful, and other stuff like Star-Lord, Doc Ock, OG Vision, Mephisto, Hood, Ghost Rider. They are all useful characters, but again, they are not as good as the next category in my opinion. And then the average, won't recommend ranking them up because they just don't have, at least these two classes, they have potential of getting buffed and becoming good characters, but these probably just stay away from them for the most part unless you really like these characters. And like some of them with Apocalypse, with the synergy, they're not too bad. They're actually like Cable here with the Apocalypse synergy, he's pretty crazy. And I guess you can say the same for Abomination. If it is he even in this list? I think I missed Abomination, but I would probably, without the synergy, place him here in the below average category. Yeah, these like below average and buff please are characters who I think need a buff, and don't have to say much about these. Cable with the Apocalypse energy is amazing, but without it he is really bad. And I hope the characters in Buff Please will get a buff. Netflix Daredevil is due in December, so hopefully that is good and he makes. That's the thing about overhauls, they just go from the worst category to well, in my tier list, the second best, because I have one reserved just for Quake and Ghost. But that's gonna do it for this one. Do let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Subscribe to the channel for more content. Like this video, subscribe, and bye bye.